Hey YouTube, Kier Twig here, bringing you all my Gokapol Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile for April 2020. This is a really fun and interesting deck that was released with cards throughout the entire, I would say, Link format, in individual booster packs, getting support for the Gokapol deck all throughout them, just in the form of different insect cards. The main point of the Gokapol deck is to set up 3 normal monsters with the same name in your graveyard, then use additional effects from all the different spells and monsters that support Gokapol as a card to get out some pretty big and powerful plays. It's a really interesting deck if you're looking to build something that's pretty budget friendly, and if you're a fan of insects for Yu-Gi-Oh! This is definitely one of the decks to look into to play. But let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the monsters, our main go-to card is Gokapol. This is a play off of the original insect that Weevil had, Gokabor. I don't even think he ever used it. I think it was more of a troll card for Weevil as well. I think he gave it to the one kid in Battle City as kind of a joke card, and it's been a joke card ever since. But with Gokapol, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 level 4 insect monster from your deck to your hand. Then if you added a normal monster, you can special summon it. Then you can destroy 1 monster on the field with attack greater than or equal to that special summon monster. You can only use this effect of Gokapol once per turn. So basically the normal monster is a big part of the deck. Being able to set up an additional monster when this card is sent to the graveyard after adding it to your hand, and then being able to build up those normal monsters in your graveyard for additional plays definitely helps for one of our bigger boss monsters, which we'll get to in just a bit. But you need 3 of the Gokapol just to set up this card for the sent to the graveyard play to give you that additional monster to use. For the normal monsters, they released Shiny Black Sea Squatter in the Ignition Assault booster pack. It's a 2000 attack, 0 defense monster, just a powerhouse to definitely go for in the deck to summon out, and then be able to hit over a good amount of your opponent's monsters, and the ones that it can't attack over, you can destroy with Gokapol's effect once it is special summoned onto the field. So I like going for the Shiny Black Sea Squatter, and my other normal monster being Insect Knight, one of the older monsters, having 1900 attack. So whichever one you special summon out should have a good fighting chance against your opponent's monsters. If not, like I said, you can use the Gokapol effect to destroy any of the monsters they have on their field that are greater than or equal to attack than the special summon monster. But just having 3 and 3, I think, is the best ratio to go with in the deck as well for normal monsters, and the easiest ones just to set up all together with all the different cards you run in the deck. For the boss monster to go for, I'm running 3 Super Armored Robot Armed Black Iron Sea. This is a mouthful of a monster name, but also a pretty good one for the setup. If you have 3 insect monsters with the same name in your graveyard, you can target any number of them, special summon this card from your hand, then equip them to this card. You can send 1 monster equipped to this card by this card's effect to the graveyard to destroy all monsters your opponent control with attack greater than or equal to the attack of the monster sent to the graveyard. You can only use each effect of Super Armor Robot Armed Black Iron Sea once per turn. So if you get your 3 normal monsters in the graveyard set up, you can equip them on to this card, and then just have the Powerhouse Destruction effect by sending one of them that is equipped by its effect to the graveyard to destroy all monsters your opponent controls, which I'll show an easy way to set up combo at the end of the video for the overall play you can do to get this card out as well. But for more of the search options, I'm also running 3 Resonance Insect. With this one, if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 1 level 5 or higher insect type monster from your deck to your hand. If this card is banished, you can send 1 insect type monster from your deck to the graveyard except Resonant Insect. So this card basically sets up the normal monsters in the graveyard. Let's say if you're 1 off, depending on the normal monster you want to send, it's great for that. But also when it's sent from the field to the graveyard, you're able to then, search out your Super Armored Robot Armed Black Iron Sea, being a level 5 or higher monster to go for in the deck as well. So very, very useful for both of the play mechanics you want to go for this deck, whether it be searching or setting up the graveyard for your plays. For some other setup, I'm also running 3 Danger Mothman. You can reveal this card in your hand. Your opponent randomly chooses 1 card from your entire hand, then discard the chosen card. Then if the discarded card was not Danger Mothman, special summon 1 Danger Mothman from your hand, and if you do, draw 1 card. If this card is discarded, you can have both players draw 1 card, then both players discard 1 card, and you can only use this effect of Mothman once per turn. But once again, it's an insect type, but it's also helping to play into the play style of the deck, because your opponent could potentially hit any other normal monster in your hand for the discard, giving you the special summon of your Mothman on the field, and then having the additional effect for both players drawing and discarding a card. So you could, have, if you have, let's say, 2 in your hand, discard another one, and then have this special summon on the field, along with hopefully the rest of the cards set up in your graveyard, and opening up with a super armored robot arm, Black Iron Sea in your hand to special summon out, giving you also more link material with the Danger Mothman you summoned onto the field and the potential monster you normal summoned on the field also. For some of the additional assistance with the banishing on the cards in your graveyard for, let's say, Resonance Insect, I'm running 2, Azectopede, the Worm Warrior. With this, it cannot be normal summoned or set. It must be special summoned by banishing one insect-type monster from your graveyard, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. If this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, send the top card of their deck to the graveyard. So, like I said, the main go-to card you want to banish is obviously Resonance Insect. I never really like to banish the normal monsters since you need them for your plays, but you can also rely on some other insects you have in your graveyard, since it is the majority of the monsters we run in the deck as well. But just 2 of this helps for it. If you wanted to run a 3rd copy of this card, you can take out the next option, or at least one of them. It's just an added backup I'm running, which can also potentially be taken out for the first side deck you take out in a game, and that is Contact Sea. When your opponent normal or special summons a monster, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand to your opponent's field in defense position. This card's controller cannot fusion, synchro, exceed, or link summon unless they use this card's material. So with Master Rule being a thing now and less people using, I would say, link monsters in specific type of decks, this definitely can come in handy if you just special summon this on your opponent's field. And depending on the deck they are playing, they might not even be able to summon out anything if they can't make use of the Contact Sea first that's on their field. So very, very useful for that. And the fact that it is a level 6 insect means that it's also searchable with Resonance Insect in the deck as well. And the only non-insect monster that I'm running in the main deck is Rescue Rabbit, running 3 of this card just for the easy special summon of our normal monsters onto the field as well, giving us 2 normal monsters to summon out, and then relying on them for either our Exceed plays, our Link plays, but altogether making sure they're not banished. The setup in the graveyard for our bigger Gokapol and Super Armor Black Iron Sea plays. I can never remember the exact phrasing of the name unless I'm looking at the card. But that is it for the monsters. We'll now also move on to the spells. Another setup card for the Gokapol deck is Giant Ballpark. It's a field spell. During damage calculation, if a player would take battle damage, you can make neither player take any battle damage from that battle. And if you do, send one level 4 or lower insect monster from your deck to the graveyard. Then if you sent a normal monster this way, you can special summon any number of monsters with the same name as that monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. If a monster you control is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's scar effect, except during the damage step, you can special summon one insect normal monster from your graveyard. You can only use each effect of Giant Ballpark once per turn. The setup for the graveyard easily achieved with this as long as you have the cards to go off of, and most of the time with all the other cards we already have setting up your plays in the deck. Giant Ballpark just makes for the play to stop battle damage against your opponent while setting up your bigger plays in your graveyard with all your different cards, and just working very, very well with Gokapol as well, just being able to send this and then give you another special summon off of this when you send it to the graveyard. And just for easy search of our field spell, I'm also running the 1 Terraforming, just like I said, so we have always access to the card to go off of with the deck as well. Once you have this card set up on the field, your play should basically all come together for what you want to do with the Gokapol deck also. And I also run 3 Unexpected Die. The 2 normal monsters are very important in the deck, so just an easy special summon of this card definitely helps for the setup in the graveyard if you don't have the field spell to rely on. And for some of the one-ofs, I'm running 1 Foolish Burial and 1 Gold Sarcophagus. I would decide not to use Monster Reborn since you want more of the setup in the graveyard of your normal monsters. You can special summon them back to the field and then reuse them, but just having these 2 options I would say is better. For Foolish Burial, being able to set up a lot of our send effects, including Gokapol, but also having Gold Sarcophagus to rely on the banish of our Resonance Insect to send an insect monster from the deck to the graveyard as well for even more setup, basically acting as a second Foolish Burial in the deck for that send. And for more graveyard setup, while also being able to get rid of our opponent's back row or any of their continuous spell, field spell setup, 2 Twin Twister, more graveyard setup, main play of the deck, you want to go for it, so the 2 Twin Twister definitely does help to set that up, while also taking care of our opponent's pesky cards that could stop our plays, and the 3 Call by the Grave for more hand traps, since you do send from the deck to the graveyard a lot, so Ash Blossom can really hurt this deck, so this definitely does come in handy. If you want to try Infinite Impermanence, if you have the card, you can swap this out for that spot also. But for the only trap, it's just the one Metaverse to search out our Giant Ballpark to set it up on the field as well when we don't open up Terraforming. Just like I said, this card is very, very powerful in the deck, for it's the main go-to play as well. So this trap as the only trap, it feels all you need, because other than that, you're going for the big special summon plays of all of our other insects in the deck. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra deck. Our first Link monster is Seraphim Papillon. With this one, you need 2 monsters or more monsters with different names. It gains 200 attack for each counter on it. You can only use one of the following effects of Seraphim Papillon once per turn, and only once that turn. If this card is Link Summon, place 1 counter on this card for each insect monster used as its Link Summon. And quick effect, you can remove 1 counter from this card to special summon 1 level 4 insect monster from your graveyard in defense. So after you get everything set up, if you can make this Link 3 monster as one of your go-to plays, you just have more and more options to use with this monster on the field, and all the other different ones also. I also run the 1 Inzektor Piccofelina. This is for the fact that it just needs 2 insect monsters, so if you use Rescue Rabbit to get out your 2 normal monsters, you can link into this card and then have 2 of them set up in the graveyard ready to go. And I also run the 1 Borrelsword and the 1 Borrelot, just being more boss monsters to go into for options. 1 Underclock Taker, 1 Mrs. Radiant, and 1 Salamangreat Almirage for the 1 normal summon monster with 1000 or less attack. Especially with Resonance Insect, it definitely does help just to link summon this card and then use the scent effect. For more of the normal monsters, I'm running 2 Link Spider, just an easy special summon use of the ones you may open up in your hand if you don't have any other cards to use them with. And also the 1 Nightmare Unicorn and the 1 Nightmare Phoenix for the rest of the Link monsters. And for the Exceed monsters, I want to focus on Exceed monsters that can easily detach all the material, so you can set them up in the graveyard faster if you have to make them instead. So 1 Diamond Direwolf, 1 Castel, 1 Dark Rebellion, and 1 Abyss Dweller just helps for the graveyard prevention for your opponent as well. But for the go-to play in the deck that is definitely useful for all of the searches, you can rely on either opening up the 1 Resonance Insect and then also the Rescue Rabbit and 1 Unexpected Die. If you have these cards in your hand, you have the Link 3 and the big option to go with for all of the searches. Just having the Resonance Insect to rely on the search as well for that play, which would be a lot better if you just opened up the Super Armored Black Sea as well, since you want the scent effect. So either opening up Giant Ballpark or Foolish Burial or even just the Black Armored Sea gives you the play right then and there. So you'll activate the Unexpected Die to special summon out 1 of the normal monsters, and if you're going for the Rescue Rabbit, you always want to make sure you go for the one that you have the rest of in the main deck as well, so you can special summon them out. So you'll summon out your Shiny Black Sea Squatter and then normal summon your Rescue Rabbit after activating the card, banishing it to special summon 2 more of the Squatters on the field. Having the setup you need for your play, you'll then link for 2 using 2 of the Squatters to summon out your Inzektor Piccofelina, and then using the Piccofelina and your Squatter to summon out your Link 3 Seraphim Papillon, having the requirements, the 2 monsters with different names, and then also getting the counters when it's Link Summon, you placing 2 counters on the start card for each monster used for its summon. You can then also have the 3 cards set up in your graveyard, so then you can special summon out your Super Armored Robot Bug. If you have 3 insect monsters with the same name in your graveyard, which you do, target any number of them and special summon this card and equip them onto this card. You can even just equip 2, because then you can use Seraphim Papillon's effect to remove a counter to special summon the additional Squatter onto the field as well. And you can only use one of the effects, but it gives you the additional monster to then link off into, let's say, another Link monster on the field, being either, let's say, Salamangreat Almirage or even just Link Spider for the Link 1 options, giving you more and more to go for, and then being able to use these additional monsters for that power play to go into. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Like I said, it's definitely a fun deck that just focuses on the Gokapol setup for all of your monsters. But until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.